to sit, instead of feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, open the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, instead of feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, instead of feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, instead of feeling so alive.
Well, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see. Firefly. Yes, ma'am. You're back now and you have your avatar. Now we can see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How's everybody?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Okay. In the middle of a sneezing fit right now.
Oh, gosh. We've been getting these like high pollen count alerts every day. And it was really messing with my grandson. Then it started coming for tomorrow. Maybe that'll make some of it die down a little bit. You think that's part of your problem? It's like allergy related?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Well, hopefully it improves. I think it's only going to get worse, right? With spring coming up, doesn't it tend to get a little worse in the spring?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sinuses and allergies have always got me in the grips in the spring and the summer.
My mom was that way, and I never really had any issues till about 3 years ago. I started. I'm like, damn, I'm turning into my mom. I'm like having these issues now. But good morning, Forrest. Thank you as always for coming in and joining us and being here. We appreciate that. I don't know why that did that. Okay, there we go. Sorry. So we have a case update this morning to get to in the Koberger case. Where did my chat go? I've lost everybody. Like the whole chat has disappeared. That's crazy. I see it on my phone, but not over here on the thingy. All right, well, maybe it'll show up in a minute. So yeah, we're going to get to a case update in the Brian Koberger case. You guys, there's my chat back. There was a new document dropped. None of the ones we waited on have dropped yet. Not as of this morning, have they?
Oh, I haven't checked.
Yeah, I'm going to check real quick while we're waiting on people to come in. So I did check late last night before I went to bed. One of the many times I went back to bed, I should say. But I did check late last night for a final time, and I did not check this morning yet. They're just getting open for business down there. What are they, 2 hours behind me? So maybe some of those documents will get dropped today while we're on air.
Oh, there are 2 more.
Are there?
So, there are 4 dated March 3rd. So the 2
Oh, I see. Okay.
new ones down there at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get those as well while we're in here. Okay. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the new order that came down from the judge, an order regarding sealing and redacting the filings. And then, as Dolphin just mentioned, there are, and right under that sealing and redacting, there was a order sealing defendants unredacted motion. That was in yesterday. And then the 2 new ones, there's a order sealing defendants exhibits in support of their motion. So are we unsealing or are we sealing here? What are we doing? And then the last one is order sealing exhibits ISO motion to strike the death penalty. Well, sounds like those are defense exhibits being sealed right there. So I guess all that confusion yesterday and hoopla about, oh, look, they're not going to let the state get away with this anymore. They're both doing it. So it's crazy. Good morning, Leslie and Billy. Good morning. How many of you followed the Ruby Frank 8 passengers case? Did any of you watch any of that stuff?
No, I didn't.
I saw that you were covering it, and I went back, and I do recall when it happened initially. Horrible.
Oh yeah, yeah, I covered it a lot on my TikTok. I think I did a live on it here once. I can't recall. I was going to go back and look, but I don't know if I've actually done a show on it yet. But her family is, because she's been arrested. She and Jody Hildebrandt were both arrested and charged with child abuse. Ruby Franke was the mom blogger who ran a YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, about her kids. There was a lot of things that went on during that people was like red flag, and then it came out about her dealings with Jody Hildebrandt, who was a therapist there in Utah. All this is through the Mormon Church, by the way. And anyway, when she got hooked up with Jody, it's a long story, but short end of the gist. The husband ended up having to move out because he was told he was the problem and he had to go fix himself. And you do what the therapist tells you. Then Jody, her older kids got old enough, moving out and going against her. Took her younger kids and ended up living with, moved into Jody's place when her daughter went off to college. And then Ruby's 2 youngest children ended up in Jody's home and suffered abuse. They've both been sentenced since then. They both ended up plea deals and have been. Family is now speaking out, and they apparently, I'm not paying for it right now, just for one show, but there's plenty of gathered information on that because the family is speaking out about what they experienced with their mother Ruby and with Jody at the helm of things, basically, and warnings they want to give out to other family members who are experiencing these mommy blogs, and these family YouTube channels that put their lives on display with the kids and all the things that we see happening. My grandson and my 18-year-old, even when he was younger, they would watch YouTubes where they were about kids, families putting their kids out there. And I thought, they're always seem so perfect and everything seems
It's
so
all a facade, all of it.
exactly. And we're going to see parts of that with Ruby telling her kids to fake it, fake being happy today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, taking their innocence and their childhood away, basically. So there's a lot to cover there. Oh, yay. That's a good, yes, Dolphin. I would we used to do that in the Discord together all the time, and I miss it. And so that would be great. Also, Friday night, Dateline plans to air a interview from the jail with Lori Vallow, and which will be quite interesting because Miss Thane doesn't think she did anything wrong. She's out there going to represent herself in her trial. So I'm going to watch that. Maybe we'll do that as a watch party as well, so we can yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah. Okay.
Firefly. And that way we can know what we're talking about when we come talk about it, people. we like to know what we're talking about. So let's
helps.
don't it though? It sure does. It sure does help. Again, I appreciate all of you coming in and hanging out with me in the mornings. I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. I normally do my Salty Sunday show. This Sunday there won't be one because my oldest, well, second to the oldest, my daughter has a birthday this weekend. And on Sunday, I will be with all 3 of my kids. It's rare that I can get all 3 of my adult children in the same building at the same time anymore, and with my grandbabies in tow. So we're going to be doing a birthday luncheon on Sunday for my daughter and spending the afternoon with her. So I'm
That
not
reminds me, today is my son's birthday.
Is it? Oh, wow.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yes, yes. My dad's is coming up as well. My daughter's, and then 2 days before my daughter's, my dad's. Then my brother's is at the end of the month. So I got a lot of March. And then my great niece and nephew also have birthdays this month, and they're actually going to be in town for their little parties. So I got a busy March month for
That's how,
birthdays
that's how
this.
my family is in April. My mother, my father, and my brother all were the first week of April.
Oh wow,
Yeah, you guys
yeah.
sound like us because my dad and I are in May, and my mom and my brother were August and September. So two Tauruses, two Virgos in
Oh
my
goodness,
family.
my
Virgo.
son's a Taurus. He's in May, um, and then June is me and my granddaughter. And my grandson and my other son are like, I told my grandson yesterday, I was like, "You're going to be 10 years old this year." He's like, "But grandma, my birthday doesn't come to the end of the year." I'm like, "I get you, but you're going to be 10 this year." Like I'm trying to get him to be a big boy. But they have to wait like all year for their birthdays, and it's so close to Christmas. It's like, it is what it is. But anyway, so let's take a look at, let me get these pulled up. We will start with um, the order regarding the soon. Let me pull that up. And kudos to the judge. It's about time somebody said it. And the thing I like about Judge Hippler is he doesn't mind holding both sides accountable. He's not going after one side or the other. Not in my opinion, anyway. This is meant for both of yous. Okay.
Oh, that's what happens when you don't have personal relationships
Uh,
with the
yes, ma'am.
state, and yeah.
I thought about that as well, Dolphin. It's a
Hmm.
good point. Yeah, because I even looked up the Idaho Code 32 law, and we're going to take a look at that on sealing and redacting. Because everything, he even alluded to this, what in the previous court hearing, that they were really asking for things to be sealed that were unnecessarily being sealed, in his opinion,
Mhm.
according to Idaho law. So it's not like he's just like, what, I'm just going to unseal all this, whatever. I just feel like it. No, he's going by the law, which should have been done all along. Because we know darn good and well every little thing they've asked to be sealed can't be so secretive that it needed to be sealed. I get the IGG stuff because you want to protect the innocent family members on the tree, like the two brothers that people are dying to find out who they are. Like I could care less. Like their names don't even matter to me because I feel like they would be just put out there for no reason. People would just run with that type of stuff. So I get why that part was, but anyway, let's get on with the document here. Welcome in, Snade. Welcome in. Um, Good to see you this morning. Okay, so this was filed yesterday, and it is an order regarding sealing or redacting the filings. This is Judge Hippler's new order. The parties pervasive. I'm going to try to read y'all this morning without getting all fumbled up on y'all. Um, okay. The parties' pervasive practice of filing material under seal in this case has become the norm rather than the exception. Rather than seeking to redact discrete sensitive information, entire documents are filed under seal. In addition, much of the material the parties seek to seal is already in the public domain or is simply not confidential or sensitive. This approach runs counter to the public's First Amendment rights to know what is going on in its courts. You hear that, Judge Gull? Damn,
Mhm.
I need to email her a copy of this. Okay, I won't say anything else about Delphi. This approach runs counter to the public's First Amendment rights to know what's going on in its courts, and it cites a
Thank
case
you.
there. Consequently, the court will look with scrutiny on request to seal documents simply because they purportedly contain facts that are not public that nonetheless will likely come into evidence. The Idaho Supreme Court adopted ICAR 32 to define when public access to judicial records may be denied, including through the redaction and sealing of court records. To warrant sealing or redaction, the material must meet specific criteria set forth in ICAR 32I, and we have that to read. So as to allow the court to make the findings necessary to justify its decision to withdraw the material from the public purview. Moving forward, the court will require the parties to adhere closely to this rule and only seek to seal or redact material as provided thereunder. In addition, All proposed orders to seal or redact must specify the basis under ICAR 32I3A for which the sealing or redaction is warranted. That's right. Make them show just cause, Judge. Don't just throw it in there and say, here you go, with a black sheet of paper. A bare citation to the ruler or conclusory summary without an individualized, rigorous, factual, and legal analysis of the basis for seeking to have documents sealed will result in a rejection of the request. Haha, I like this, Judge. Further, the parties must also seek the least restrictive method to protect information that should be or is exempt from disclosure. For example, despite the court's concerns being expressed previously, which they were, the state continues to seek broad orders sealing entire document initials or requesting that a redacted version be made public that disclose only initials. Now we know we can figure out a lot from initials, right, guys? Accordingly, the state's
Yeah.
Dolphin. Accordingly, the state's request to seal filings writ whole are denied. States' requests to seal filings writ whole are denied, except as otherwise noted regarding certain exhibits containing grand jury testimony or other exempt records. So grand jury testimony is always going to be secret, always going to be sealed. The term secret is, we got to get over using that in this case. I don't even like that word anymore. Rather, those filings have been redacted by the court to refer to certain individuals by initials or family members of the deceased victims by their nature of the relationship, or e.g. brother, rather than by name. Kaylee's got a brother. The original filing will be sealed and the redacted versions will be made public. Yay! In addition, the court has redacted portions of the defendant's filing that contain grand jury testimony. So the defense is like, oh, we want this out there, Judge. Judge's like, well, wait a minute, though. That's grand jury testimony. Slow your roll. But I like that order. You guys agree with that order?
Absolutely. About time we have some more,
Yeah.
transparency.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like you can release stuff and just redact names if that's what you know what I mean. Just give us the
Yeah.
info.
It gives that persona that we're hiding everything. Everything's
Exactly.
secret. And you take that element away.
That's what
maybe-
feeds all these conspiracy theories because
Yeah,
there's so much
exactly. That's
secrecy.
exactly what I was thinking. Plus, they're no longer in Moscow, right? So there's no
Right.
danger to the community, or whatever. I
Right.
don't know. I mean, plus he's been in jail too, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But still, there's no need to protect the community from undue, eyes upon them because we're not there anymore. They're just looking at Ada County. Oh, I'm sure. I know
Right.
there are still some nosing all over in Moscow's business, trying to find the real killer. But aside from them people, we're all looking at Ada County now, right?
Right.
And
Plus thousands of other people, get fair trials, every day.
every day,
While all the details are blasted all over the place.
And we're getting down to it. Like it's only a little more than 4 months
exactly,
away, and we're gonna have
exactly.
jury
They,
selection. So come on, just let us
Mhm.
let us know.
Well, like he said, though, just redacting a whole page because you want to protect someone's name. Redact the name, right? Or use the initial system. However, the judge is recommending they do it here. He's going by the law, and he wants them to cite which rule under the Idaho Code 32 that they're pertaining to warrants the sealing of the said document. It's like you can't just walk in here and say, seal it, Judge. No, I'm going to be like, okay. No, that's not going to happen. Not anymore. Okay, so, oops, I accidentally stumbled down there to Lori Vallow's case. Nothing exciting happening there, which I'm over that. Last order filed there was back on the 18th, and it was just some suspended briefing schedule bullshit. Until her Arizona case is complete, then they'll get back to it, I guess. Okay, so next one that came up is this one, which was, oh wait, where did it go? It's gone. The hold on, let me hit refresh. The thing broke. Okay, motion in limine is not there. See if you can pull it up, Dolphin.
You're talking about the one for 5 and 14?
Filed on 3/3, order sealing defendant's unredacted motion in limine, and 14, motion in limine 15 or 14. Yeah, you're right. When I
Yeah.
click, yep, I'm getting an error.
No,
Maybe
it came up for me.
okay, let me pull all that down because that was probably a user error. Okay, let me pull it back up and see if it'll show up now. I hate when my links break. Like, don't break. Don't break today, man. Don't break.
Hmm.
Okay, scroll on down here. 150,000 pages to the bottom. Use my slider, then I slide on into Lori by accident. Like, no. Okay. Yeah, I still get the broken link, Dolphin. Pull it up for us and we'll look at it on your end if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Let me see.
Okay. I'll pull my screen down and we'll get Dolphin up here. Okay, let me pull her screen up. Now, I know that some people were saying they had a hard time reading. Were you able to read the bottom what the judge wrote in?
I think I did see it. Yeah, the very last. Yeah.
Yeah, I just peeked at a creator last night who couldn't read it, but I was able to read it on my if I zoomed it in really good. Um, so do you want to read this one for us? It's short.
Sure, I can. So this is an order sealing defendant's motion in limine number 5 regarding inconclusive data, and motion in limine number 14 regarding statistical analysis under seal. And the judge has written in unredacted out to the side. The court having before it the motion to file defendant's motion in limine number 5 regarding inconclusive data, and motion in limine number 14 regarding statistical analysis under seal, and good cause appearing now, therefore. It is hereby ordered the defendant's motion in limine number 5 regarding inconclusive data, and motion in limine number 14 regarding statistical analysis shall be sealed pursuant to ICAR 32I and IC 74 124 1B and C. And he said something because the documents contain yeah, I think that might be and because the documents contain grand jury testimony, uh so, which is exempt from disclosure. Yeah,
Yeah,
is what the
perfect.
last part is.
Yeah, it is. That was perfect.
Hmm.
Thank you for that because that was the second document there, guys. So there.
Yeah, so that's it,
Let me
just
get
right
that
there.
one down, and then let me see if my thing is working at all with any of the links. I didn't try the other documents. Come here, slider. Slide on down. Okay. So the next one that came down was order sealing defendants' exhibits in support of their motions in limine. It worked. Okay, let's get this up here. This one I haven't read yet. This is one the two new ones that came down this morning. It had to be this morning because they weren't here last night. Okay, this is an order sealing defendant's exhibit in motion in support of their motions in limine. And it basically is it's very short and simple. The court having before it the stipulated motion to seal defendant's exhibit in support of their motions in limine and good cause appearing now thereof, it is hereby ordered the defendant's exhibits in support of their motions in limine be filed under seal. Okay, so and he cites the Idaho codes that are pertaining to that. So you can seal the exhibits, but don't seal the document, right? Let us read a bit about what that motion in limine is about. A little details on that. So I guess they're going to continue to seal exhibits, but not maybe some specific court filings. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because that's kind of redundant right there. Or we're going to seal, then we're going to unseal. Okay, so let's see what this one says. Okay. Order sealing defendants' exhibits in support of their motion, and it's the same thing. This is for this autism spectrum disorder motion to strike the death penalty. Support of their motion to strike the death penalty, RE autism spectrum disorder under seal, and good cause appearing now. I guess that may be because it contains medical information. It is hereby order the defendants' exhibits in support of their motion to strike the death penalty, RE autism spectrum disorder. We knew that would be used at mitigation, right, for the death penalty phase. And I think a lot of people were out there talking about that, thinking that some of us assumed that this will mean he had a mental defect and that caused all this stuff. No, I don't buy that. That was never the. I think it was a no-brainer for a lot of us. That's going to be used at mitigation, but be interesting to see when that diagnosis actually came about. That's my big takeaway. I want to know when that diagnosis was made, how long ago. So what do you guys think? That was really it on the Koberger update. I wanted to do, let's, it was one more piece to that, and it was just the looking up the stuff. Okay. And hopefully today, like I said, maybe some of those other documents will come down and we'll actually be able to get an idea of what's going on with those motions that have been filed. So this is the Idaho Court of 32, and we have to scroll down to section I, which pertains to sealing and redacting. And we'll look at the specific ones the judge cited. Through here, where did it go? It's this down a bit. I have to find section I. I think I just passed it. Man, I was reading this like last night and then again this morning, and now I'm like, where the hell is it? All right, come on, get up here. Did I pass it? No. I wonder how much more information we'll get out of the next round of court filings, right? With the judge's new ruling in place. All right, so redaction and sealing of court records. Filing a motion, parties to a case or non-parties whose rights are affected by or who otherwise have a right to assess information contained in a court file may move to redact, disclose, or seal or unseal records in a case file. The court at its own discretion may also move to redact, disclose, seal, or unseal records in case file in accordance with the rules. And I3 and A were cited. So here's what 3 says. Orders to reseal, orders to redact or seal. Consistent with the presumption in these rules of public access to information. When entering an order, redacting or sealing records in a case file, a court must fashion the least restrictive exemption from disclosure and provide the reason for the redacting and sealing. So that's what he's wanting them to do, is start telling me why, get more specific. And then if you look at number 3, which is down here, the records contain facts or statements that may compromise a person's financial security or could reasonably result in economic or financial loss or harm to a person who has an interest in the records, which was kind of weird. And that was part of A, which is prior to entering an order, redacting or sealing records, the court must make one of the following determinations, and then number 3 was cited. But there's a list of, a whole host of reasons that you could use to seal and redact. And records contain facts or statements that might endanger a person's life. That is necessary to temporarily seal or redact records to preserve the right to a fair trial. They're just going to, all the things are listed there. So it'd be curious to see what they come up with in the future to try to, I don't think the defense is going to want a lot of their stuff sealed in the future. You know what I mean? They don't understand why. They can say to protect the integrity of the case, but it's getting a little monotonous there. Good morning, Brightwell. Welcome in. Always good to see you, Texas Ranger. Hello. Good morning. So, how do you feel, chat, about the judge's new orders on limiting the gag order, and releasing documents with redactions versus a completely sealed document? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay.
He said he was going to do it
Mm-hmm.
before, didn't he? Like initially when
Yeah.
he took over the case.
Yeah, it was in a hearing they talked about that. And he talked
Yeah,
about the idea that well, we knew before that Anne liked to come in and unseal and seal when she felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a comment where uh on Twitter I think it was like, just a reminder, the defense has wanted hearings held public. Well, they have been, except for IGG, which for reasons they were held not in secrecy. They were held in the judge's chambers, closed hearings, or in the courtroom, closed hearings, to protect all those people on that tree that we don't need to know about, right?
right.
People who probably didn't even know Koberger personally. Just, whoa, okay,
Exactly.
I shared some DNA with that dude along the way. Don't combine me in there. No, they don't want all of our attention. So, um, yeah, but
And
a
they
lot of
and they have nothing to do with the case either, so why mention their names, right?
right. I mean, so I think that I think it's going to be a good thing. Yeah, Forrest, you agree it's going to be a good thing. Um, Good morning, Miss Potts. Welcome in. Um, Joe, I've always said it's a fine line to decide what to gag, yeah, and what to release, exactly. And well, and in this case, it seemed like a lot more was getting sealed and redacted that obviously didn't need to be. And that started becoming apparent. And finally, this judge has owned it. He's like, look, what are y'all doing here? Y'all got away with this over there in Latop, but we're not doing it. You're not intimidating me, Judge. I think you need to make the right call. And she's like, Judge is like, oh, I'm intimidated now. Ordered to be sealed. Um, well, she tried to enter a filing we just read a few minutes ago where the judge is like, you need to redact some of that grand jury testimony. Um, so I know everything that Anne's asked to be unsealed, and she says things in her court documents as well. Both parties agreed early on to the gag order in this case. Both parties had no problem with the gag order. As the case was progressing, Anne knew it was apparent, or that was the wrong word, not apparent. She knew she needed to get certain things out there into the public eye, and you can't blame her. So she did it through court filings that weren't sealed and redacted, and didn't ask for them to be sealed. So some things she is asking to be sealed. So the judge is like, no more of this. Y'all just play fair and do it the right way. We're not doing it. Thank goodness. Um, so we're gonna, um, yeah. Grand jury testimony is always sealed, right? Grand juries are held in secrecy across every state in the country. That is the point of a grand jury, and all grand jury testimony is sealed. Um, and the judge is even aware of that. It's not a trial, it's not a preliminary hearing, so it's always done in
I
that
always
shroud of
wondered about
secrecy.
uh-oh, what happened to Dolphin? I always wondered, how Steve, I don't know if it's true, but Steve said he'd talked to some of the grand jury members. How
Mhm.
legit is that? Like, is that legal to do that? Is that
Well, that bothered me when that was leaked
it's
out.
unethical? It seems unethical. I don't know.
Well,
At the very least.
unethical is probably not the word, but you're not supposed to talk to them unless they reach out. I
Yeah.
think they can. Usually, grand juries people who sit on grand juries normally sit on grand juries, right? Like if they have
Yeah.
a grand jurist
Like
impaneled,
they
and
have
that's
it
what
for a
they're
while.
for.
Like they're on the grand
Yeah,
jury for like a year or something like that.
yeah. So, a small town. Did he know somebody who knew somebody? Did somebody talk
Possibly.
that shouldn't have?
That's what I
Maybe.
mean. I just wonder how
But
how
those, well, you
legal
got to
is that
remember the
to do?
source. So those were what
True.
out of the leaked text messages between Steve and Brat.
That's true.
Oh, geez, don't
And
mention
then
her.
those, yeah, that's where that came from. So I have to mention it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
And
those
again, maybe
came,
there's no law, just like there's no law that FBI can, use certain
who
databases
knows
that
if
they're
any of
not
that,
supposed to, but it's not right. It's not right to do it. It's supposed to be secret.
well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
wondering.
whatever the FBI is out there doing, they've been doing it. Nothing I say is going to change that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. IGG and the way they went about using it has been being done for a long time. Koberger's the first case just to call them out on it. So
Yeah.
there's that. But as far as what Steve G possibly knew or heard from a grand jurist, I don't know because those were leaked text messages between Steve and a content creator who then turned around and sold those leaked messages to the author of the book. What's the name of the damn book that he wrote? What's his name even? I can't.
When the night comes
Uh,
calling, you're
Bloom.
talking about Bloom,
Bloom.
Bloom, whatever
Blum.
his name is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those all those leaked messages went straight to him via Brett Norton from TikTok. I'm not afraid to say it.
That's a
So
good point. We don't know how legit any of that is. So,
yes, good. Oh, hello, Jack Stone, Jack Johnstone, Jack Stone. I called him. I saw your comment a second ago. Yeah, they seized computers and Gmail account and a Fire Stick. Um, maybe. But the Fire Stick came out of the apartment, right? And his Gmail accounts
Yeah.
just came out of the cloud. So, and computers were seized out of the home in Pennsylvania. Several computers were seized
Yes.
home in Pennsylvania,
I
actually.
think there was something at his apartment too.
Yeah,
He left
besides
some
the
tech
Fire Stick.
behind.
Yeah,
So, yeah, the fire stick was connected to the TV.
yeah, exactly. Um, So it's going to be interesting to see how things start to play out. 16 members on a grand jury in Idaho. I believe that's right when we all looked into it. Yeah. Um, but, all that grand jury stuff's going to be no matter what we decide. I don't even know how, what's the grand jury stuff. Anne's done looked over all that. She's tried to have the case thrown out because of all the grand jury stuff and didn't succeed. So that's all that's mute to me now. um, it's not going to play a part in the trial, right? But with some of the things that came out of the grand jury investigation and the grand jury testimony led and her team to search into certain things, and the prosecution. 67 devices. You talking about in the Koberger case? We've got the search warrant returns. We can count them up. I don't remember there being that darn many though. Damn, Miss Potts.
that is a lot.
What was he doing over there? Look, Rex Heuermann shit.
Ooh, maybe there
Can't,
was supposed to be an or in there. Even I don't have 67 devices, over the
right?
Sure
years.
about that.
Jesus.
I mean, I know they took a lot of devices out of the Pennsylvania home, but I don't know if it equaled all up to 67. We'll have to do a count, Miss Potts, and see. Okay, so we'll come back into Koberger in a little bit. So there, I don't know. Have you guys? I want to just touch on this story for a moment. It's an update on a. Have you seen the little missing boy out of Oregon?
Oh, Dane.
Oh,
Uh, what's his last name? Is it Paulson?
He's 2 years old. And so I looked at some stuff. I looked at the map last night as to where his home was located and how close to that river the house was. There's a bridge nearby. It's rural and country. It's stuff I'm used to seeing on a map. But there's an old bridge nearby that a car was seen there that day. But the person's been talked to, and they were a local, and they've been cleared of anything. There's no foul play yet. There was a boat launch right there nearby as well. And we'll take show you guys this story if you hadn't seen.
is he still missing? I don't know anything
He's
about
still
it.
missed. I checked. Now I checked this morning before we went to air on any latest updates, and
Mm-hmm.
this one was from several hours ago.
First thought you were talking
But
about Kieran. That was several years ago. That boy.
yeah, no, he still hasn't been found. I've done a update on him as well. But anyway, yes, this is the latest update that came out. I'm about to hit the wrong button. All right, let me go here.
updates from Lincoln County on the search effort. Catherine, what can you tell us?
Well, Christine, today was day 3 of the search with still no sign of the toddler. In an update this evening, Lincoln County Sheriff's officials shared that crews have covered more than 300 miles looking for 2-year-old Dane. Dane's family lives off Highway 229 north of Siletz. This Google map offers some perspective around the search. Crews are coordinating their response at a boat launch just 100 feet from the river. Investigators say Dane disappeared around 4:30 Saturday afternoon while playing in his front yard. He's described as friendly, fearless, and comfortable around strangers and water. The sheriff's office declined an interview today, but on Sunday said there was no evidence suggesting criminal activity. Multiple agencies, including the FBI, are part of the search. Crews are using divers, canine units, and drones with thermal imaging equipment. Also, hundreds of volunteers from around the Northwest are helping search for Dane.
Washington, Idaho. I've talked to people from Boise. We heard about it. We're on our way over. Castle Rock. I can't remember the name of the town up in Puget Sound. Port Orford.
Dane was last seen wearing a gray fuzzy hoodie with ears, black pants, and blue and white shoes. He has brown hair and green eyes. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to contact the Lincoln County.
I don't know if it's because they haven't said anything about foul play, did he just wander away from the property there? Oops, that's the wrong thing. Sorry.
2 years old? Yeah, he should not have been left unattended at all.
Yeah,
Well,
totally agree.
out of the parents' view, let me show you where they lived and show you the yard and how close.
Especially a river.
I've always. Okay. Well, with that said, I'm the kind of person who would I would like to live on a river, right? But not when I was raising little kids. Not throwing any shade at these parents. I don't know what happened, but that would scare the life out of me, right?
Yep.
To be located so close to, and here's the river. If you guys can see my cursor here. So there's the river. The Siletz River runs right here, the parents' property.
Where's the river?
So
which part's the river?
extremely right.
Oh,
It's running east to west.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, right there. The dark. Yeah,
shit.
and the tree line is here. It even comes up into the little enclave here.
Where's their property?
Here.
Oh, the smaller
Right
house
here
on the left?
Yes. And
Oh, so he could have just creeped over there real quick and just fallen
yeah,
right
and
in.
see, this property here is also on the river, to the right of that property. This is the Siletz Highway, also known as the 229.
Oh, that's way too close to the river.
Yeah,
nice.
and
Yeah.
so then if you zoom in, their house was over here to the left, the river. Here is the bridge where local was seen, and over here to the right is the boat launch. They have been scouring the river looking for him, and no sign of him yet. I don't know, because this is in Oregon. I don't know their wildlife. I don't know about gators in Oregon like I would in Florida. I couldn't tell you what's in that river.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I don't know. I'm
It's
sure
probably too cold up that way for
like the
gators.
cold. Yeah, because
in
gators have to have
wintertime
a
and stuff.
warmer. Yeah, they have to sun and warm up, and they like our warm waters here. That's why they're here. But yeah, so I don't. But that's dangerous. My dad has property deep in the woods, right along a river. But that was that was his hunting place, right? Not our home. And we have property on the river now. My sister, my brother, God, my other brother, we're all up on the river. But we grew up with pools, but none of us ever lived dead on the river with kids growing up. That's just a dangerous situation. And I don't know, did he go out into the river or to the river bank and fall in?
Oh, can you turn off satellite for just a second? I just want to see this map in 2D.
You
'Cause
know
I can't
how
even
the
see the
swift
road or
water,
whatever to
Yeah,
get out.
because look at all this
Yeah,
marshy
away from their
a
right here.
driveway.
house.
Mm,
There, it's like it's a shared area right here. See,
Okay,
there's a shared area, and then it looks like it goes back that way. And I'm assuming that they do have a little way to get to their property from here. You know what I mean?
back
right.
towards the east.
Probably like a shared driveway with that other house
Yeah,
to
because if
the
you see
Oh,
how,
right.
okay.
yeah,
Kind of like my friend Karen.
we have a neighbor behind us that's my
Hmm.
only close enough neighbor, and we have a shared driveway. Like
Yeah.
she's grandfather, it's our driveway, but she's grandfathered in under the county stuff. You know what I mean, on the easement way and stuff like that. So she's grandfathered in, which is perfectly fine with us. She shared, we all use that driveway. Um, but yeah, that's how you get to her house is through my driveway. But you don't gotta, it's down the side of our property, like straight back. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a straight back here. You know, it looks like it just
Mm-mm.
goes in right there. And then maybe does it curve around and come through here? See, like right here, there's like a,
Yeah, you can't really tell. Usually after a
yeah,
while you can see a worn path, but I don't see
exactly.
any.
And the only thing I see is
Oh,
this space
The
here.
one that goes through
This,
the woods, kind of.
is that Miller Road
yeah,
below the river?
which we're here or over here.
Well, is there any way you can just flip it off of satellite real quick so I can just see the 2D map? Because that would answer my question quickly. And getting rid of the trees.
And you
The bottom left corner.
have my layers. So this one shows Aloha, Alola, Ahola. Anyway,
Oh, that park? Mm-hmm.
yeah, park.
Yeah, I
Campground?
see it.
There's a road here named that as well, right? It runs
Okay.
through a creek, runs through there. Um,
Okay,
look,
now I see what I wanted to see. Never mind. I did it on my screen. Yeah. See, there's just um
yeah,
so
there's,
where the park is below the river, there's just that one little driveway in, and
yeah,
then there's nothing behind it. I couldn't quite tell with all the
yeah,
trees in the way. And then, but if you zoom in, yeah, you see the houses,
yeah,
the different properties.
yeah. I don't know, if this little boy, and if you go over here to the left, like if you fell in, then you got all of this land here that's just spotted with trees and water. That's how it is up on Florida rivers. You can have a lot of water in them trees. It's beautiful to look at, but
Thing is, like,
it's a
it's not
lot.
like some stranger could drive in there and, go abduct him, like,
Not without knowing, right, because it's a rural area. You would probably know the area, but right now they
hmm
don't suspect anything like that has happened. There's Amber Alert. You know
There's
what I
a
mean?
creek back there too.
Yeah, the creek runs. I just was looking at it on the other map. You could see it run straight through there. I think it was
Hmm.
this map here. It shows the creek that I was looking at a second ago. Where'd it go? Right through here. There's actually, yeah. Um, so that, yeah, like I said, there's no Amber Alert or anything like that gone out yet, and the police don't expect any foul play. They haven't stated that. Nobody saw anything. He was Now the report said that he was out playing in the front yard, out of the parents' view. Then he went missing.
front yard.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's this side of the house or this side of the house. You know what I mean? Or
Makes
is
me
this
wonder
Looks
how
like there's
long were
another
their eyes
road
off
back there too.
and
think,
see
or
it's
is that the slough? That might be the slough. I
yeah.
don't know.
Because you can't really get down there street level to walk around and look at it, like I can on some things in maps, like take me there, like street view, get me there. Look, there's the bridge. There's the boat launch place right there. Oh, that's a steep. Is that really the boat launch? Wow, that's okay. Stairs going down, or wow, do dudes back down that to? I've seen a lot of boats launched in my time. Sorry,
Yeah.
y'all. Country girl got fascinated with the damn boat launch. I'm like, what the hell? No way. I want to see my daddy do that. But this is the bridge that overlooks the river, and their home would be located down. If you guys can see my pointer, way down there, down here around the bend, their home would be located down in that area. And we can't like really get any closer to that location to where what we got here, a driveway and a home that sits close by. Oh, I saw this on TV. I know they've set up like their command post in the family's yard, wherever that's got to be down here to access their property. You know what I mean? From that other property. Let me go back to something here. Let me look at something. Go back one. Let's see if I can throw myself in the right spot. Let me see. I want to be. So there's the creek and there's their property. Let's see. Yeah. So you'd have to access their property through this property. And there's the bridge that was near the home. Easy, huh? That you actually have to do that because there's no other way to get to their property. A lot of woods around this area as well. So is there a chance he, went off through the woods on a little adventure? You know what I mean? Kids do that, especially boys who are inquisitive and they see a bunny rabbit or a deer or something. Do they take off after it?
And just can't find his way back out. But surely they said they've used heat, like.
Yeah, they've had all kinds of things out there searching for him.
Yeah, you would think they would find him in the woods or something.
Did they bring in dogs?
Yes, let me show you. Let me get this back up. I'll show you another clip that shows a lot of that. Okay, so this was yesterday. All right, let me pull this up and we'll take a look at what all the search efforts they have done so far. I think it's in this piece. Oops, let me mute out. Okay.
Major search underway for a 2-year-old boy who vanished from his home in Celeste. This is about 30 minutes southeast of Depot Bay.
The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says 2-year-old Dane Paulson disappeared Saturday around 4:30 in the afternoon after he'd been playing out in his front yard out of his parents' sight. So I believe we have a closer look at the area where this child disappeared. If you can take a map of this area. Okay, we've got a picture here of Dane. This is 2-year-old Dane. Now, he lives in a forested area near the Celeste River. That's a picture of the yard, and here we'll zoom in on the map to give you some context of this space. Dane was last seen in his front yard in that home with a gray fuzzy hoodie with teddy bear ears, black pants, and white shoes. An Amber Alert has not been issued. Authorities say it does not meet the criteria in this case for an Amber Alert, but several neighbors and agencies are taking part in an ongoing search. The FBI has joined in. KOIN 6 spoke with some community members praying for the child and his family.
Light a candle right now and pray for the family. I've been checking in with the mama and prayed with her a few times.
Authorities have been using search dogs, drones with cameras, and thermal imaging. They've asked community volunteers to actually stay away from certain search areas because too many people can interfere with search dogs' tracking senses. Community members asked to stop the search last night at dark. And
now that I'm not sure about. I haven't heard anything about other children yet.
I mean, because that's just irresponsible. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Officials say they are expecting to reconvene at this hour this morning to pick back up. If you have any information or you think you've seen
Yeah. 2 years old, that's, I've raised 4 kids, I didn't like them not being out of my sight. I didn't like them being out of my sight, right?
It takes seconds for them to get into mischief. Like literally, like even if you're like in the
You
same
turn your
room with them,
right.
if all of a sudden it gets quiet, they're
Mhm.
into shit. Yeah, like they're
It's
into
quiet,
something.
you know to go look, right?
Yeah.
You know to get your ass up and go look. My baby's just got silent on me. I had
Yeah.
one ear on those kids at all times. I could hear their whole little conversations. If I was cleaning, whatever I was doing in my house, one ear on the kids at all times. And I could hear everything going on. And if it got quiet and I have got 3 babies out back there now and find out what they're doing. Because I'm not gonna give them warning I'm coming. I'm gonna find out, like, what are these kids up to? But
Hasn't
yeah,
he been missing since the first?
3 days.
Seemed like it had been a couple of days or whatever
3
by the
days
time this
now, I
report
think,
came out.
yes. So, well, there's been other reports over the past 24, 48 hours that I have seen, but those were the ones we just showed were the newest ones. So I've watched the reports that have been coming out over the weekend, and I thought, I'm going to put this out there, because you never know. An abduction could have occurred, and they just don't know it yet, and he could be, out of state by now. So getting his picture out there and his name maybe will help if that occurred. We don't know at this time, but it's when I raised 2 boys, and one of my boys loved being outside. And the way my house was set up when he was growing up, outside, I had a big kitchen window. That's where he liked to sit and play, was outside that kitchen window area, because there was the only area in my yard that had sandy area, had grass everywhere else. He got there was little matchbox cars and play and do his thing. He'd sit there all day if I let him, but I constantly could see him the entire time.
I agree with Truth. There's so many wild animals in that area. A little
Mhm.
toddler that size looks like a
Mhm.
little snack. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They
Exactly.
came in and
Look
grabbed
at
it and grabbed it.
Summer Wells. Her location was very rural like that, and anything could have come up. They don't know where that little girl vanished off to. What could have come out of the woods and snatched her and ran away with her, never to be seen again? It was a theory I had. You can't say no, and you can't say no in this case either. Like I said, we have black bears here that will wander up into your yard. People who live here know this. And if you have small dogs, small children, you are warned about these things. We've had people have to go out their backyard, back door, and try to scare the bears back out of their yard because they didn't know they were out there. Let their little dog out in the morning, and all hell breaks loose in the backyard. Little dog is now like, I'm getting this bear out of my yard, you know. But you never know when you live in these areas what can come up into your yard, right? Our property is fenced, but I'm still hyper vigilant because I know there's things out there.
Oh my goodness. I just saw in an
Yes.
article that he can't swim. He loves
Yes,
water, but he can't
he loves
swim.
the water,
They
but he
live
can't
right near a
swim.
river. Why wouldn't they teach his child how to swim?
I don't know that answer because, like I said, I was raised on rivers and we were taught from little kids to respect it, how to act around it. We had to wear life jackets. We got tossed off the side of the boat to make sure our life jacket was going to float us. And you better hold that head up and know what you're doing. And we were all taught to swim. And the ones that weren't good swimmers, our entire family was aware of which kids were which, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also in chat, Truth says, if attacked by wildlife, the scent of hounds would have been able to track. But also, wouldn't the same be
Not
for if he
necessarily.
fell in the river? Like, wouldn't they track him to the river? His scent?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, maybe they did track it to the river. They haven't
They just
said.
haven't said, but they are searching the river. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe
And
they
we
did.
know that in Sebastian's case, the scent dog ran straight back to the pond at the construction site and dove his little butt right in that water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if a animal had come out before with I don't know, with the wildlife involved, how the dog would take that. Um, and we don't know that there hasn't been any kind of scent picked up going toward the woods or anything yet. Which may lead them to areas they may focus in on searching. You know what I mean? If there was any kind of hits, so hopefully Oh, you're talking about Summer Wells. I don't. I was just referencing the case as if that's could have happened. I don't know what happened to Summer Wells. I'm not deep in that case. I know the theories that are out there, but yeah. That was a messy
Mhm.
situation I didn't like. So I don't, it's kind of like Sebastian Rogers. I stay out of it. I'm just saying, with a child never to be seen again, you can't take it off the table that an animal didn't grab that child. Just like you can't take it off the table when didn't grab this little boy, considering the location. Now, what kind of bears do they have in Oregon? Does any of you know? We have the black bear here. We don't have the big grizzlies and stuff. I would imagine they got much bigger bears up there
Yeah, I think so.
with like the colder weather and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That they have, they would have much bigger, scarier bears. If that makes sense. Let me see.
Yeah, they're saying black bears.
Oh, they got black
Mm-hmm.
bears too.
I know they have mountain lions, 'cause
Are
I've
the
seen all
only
kinds of
bears
videos
in
on
Oregon.
YouTube.
And we have a ton. Oh, I can share some local videos of black bear with you guys. We have not had one person attacked yet by a black bear. They come into the yard, they're looking for your garbage, they're building in their territory. All we've seen a lot. We even have dedicated local Facebook pages to the bears. I call them the bears of South Santa Rosa. Ran up on one myself in the car. My dad has seen tons of them down. They track them in Eglin Air Force Base property because there's so many. Um, but even as often as they show up on our properties, not one person's been attacked. You know what I mean? It's crazy that hasn't happened. I don't know how aggressive they are in Oregon. Something to look into. And they're
They have
actually,
coyotes and stuff too.
yeah, we have the coyotes here. They're actually considering, uh, like we have times we open up alligator season hunting to keep the population down, and our black bears here are so protected, and they came in and put tracking devices on them and all this to learn their movements and such. They're considering opening up a hunt now on the black bear here because they're so overpopulated now. Um, y'all have black bears where you're at for us. They come through and the yard and destroyed the retaining wall between the, oh my goodness, destroyed a retaining yard. That's a retaining wall. That's insane.
Oh,
Oh,
I've pulled up the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife,
uh-huh.
and under their mammal section, they say that Oregon's black bears don't always live up to their name. Their coloring can be blonde, brown, cinnamon, and of course black.
Oh,
You want me to send you this link so you can see what type of? They've got all kinds of.
yeah. It won't let me pull it up from back
Nice.
when I'm only on Restream. It won't let me pull up a link and share it directly with you guys.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know why. I don't
You
know
want me
why.
to
Yeah, if you want to do it, that's
pull
great.
it up?
Welcome in, Joe Schmo.
Hey,
Thank
Good
you.
Joe.
morning. Good morning, Firefly. Good morning, Dolphin. Good morning,
Morning.
Salty.
Are you with us this
Okay.
morning?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, I'm I'm with you now. Yep.
Okay. All right, let me
I'm
get
awake
back
and
your
upright.
Dolphin's screen up for us. And let me get, okay, yeah, we're all off there. Okay.
Let me know when you see it.
We can see it.
Okay. So they've got various sections. So I just was looking straight at mammals and beavers, squirrels, chipmunks, marmots, the usual suspects, right? But then when you get down to larger animals, coyotes, wolves, foxes, here's a section about the bear. Oh, that raccoon is cute. Cats, mountain lion's going to be up in that. Moose, elk, yeah, but they don't
Mountain lions
usually.
are aggressive though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And they get big up there.
Yeah, they do. I've seen tons of video on YouTube. Oh, lynx. That's right, because they're
Mm.
so close to
Aren't they
Canada.
pretty? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
lynx are so pretty. What is that? Oh, the
A
bobcat.
bobcat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They can get pretty feisty.
Yep. The coyotes get to running back here along the creek, and I'll go out and sit and listen to them. It's so funny. The little babies that yelping. Like, y'all stay back
Yeah,
there.
so I just wanted to show you this. Let's see.
No, I appreciate that. The bears, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, here, see, that's a black bear.
Oh.
That's a cub, but
Yeah.
and it's not black, but
No. We've had one stuck in a tree for days down and on the other at the
oh, I
other
saw
end of
that.
the county.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're trying to gonna try to figure out why he won't come down and get him down. Yeah. Typical
Anyway, I'll just go ahead and stop.
typical bears of Northwest Florida. They always got something to show us. Okay. So, yeah, we'll wandered off into the woods, and hopefully there'll be a good outcome to that situation. Okay, let's move into this Ruby Frank stuff. Miss Ruby Frank. And I watched, shout out to Megan Connor. Last night I watched, I believe she was on a podcast that I watched pertaining to this stuff with a couple of other people on panel with her. It was a great show. And then that led me to go back and look at one of her previous shows that she did on the subject. And she did a good job. If you're not familiar, Megan, I'm sorry, her name is Megan Connor. Forrest, or even Joe, if you could drop her link in chat, be perfect.
Sure.
So Megan, Joe, can you explain more about her better than I don't want to butcher it. And I know you know a little more of the gist on her story, on her.
Sure. So she is Lori's cousin.
Lori Vallow's cousin.
Yes, Lori Vallow Daybell's cousin. And she is also ex-Mormon. She left the Mormon church just a couple of years ago. So she's fresh out of the church. So she has a unique perspective on the church and on the Lori Vallow Daybell family dynamics and that whole thing. So yeah, she's and she is super sweet, super nice, and
very intelligent, very strong.
Yes.
And she understands the Mormonism behind these two cases, Lori Vallow and the Ruby Frank case. And there are some things there that parallel each other, and they did a pretty good show covering that. So if we can get her link in there, that'd be great. And you guys can go check out I was going to actually maybe reach out to her and have her on to talk about some of these things. Joe's had her on. You had her on live, right, Joe?
Yep, that's correct. We did a live together on February 12th.
Yeah. And it was really good. And she knows a lot about the subject. And so if you want to deep dive, take another look at the case in that aspect, I was suggest going over and checking out Megan's channel, what it means to leave the church, all those things come into play there on her channel. All right, so let me pull up my damn buttons. Stop talking, lady. Okay. So I had hang on, sorry, I was looking at something. So I had a complete body cam of when Jody Hildebrandt had two of Ruby's children in her home, and they were in Arizona. And the full thing is hard to watch, but we do have parts of it in a news clip that we're going to look at, so we don't have to play the entire thing. I want to make sure I bring the right one up first. I think it's in this court TV piece. So Ruby Frank's family has begun to speak out. She and Jody were arrested. They did finally do plea bargains, and they are both serving time for child abuse. And Ruby was the blogger mom of 8 Passengers YouTube channel where she exploited her children. She had very strict, stern parenting style. Then she met Judge Hippler, who was a therapist. She was a part of the Mormon Church. A lot of people were recommended to go to Jody for therapy from within the church. Her teachings and her philosophies are highly questionable and always had been, but under Mormonism and their guidelines, they all bought it. And it really did a number on this family. Not taking away Ruby's part in it because she allowed it to happen, but the manipulative measures taken by Jody to control Ruby and go into business with her and launch all this stuff, it got so aggressive and so intrusive that she was pretty much calling all the shots. And then it led to removing the husband from the home, and we'll get into that, and then becoming extremely physically violent with these children. So that's the angle between the Mormonism type stuff that was going on with Lori Vallow, and Megan talks about that stuff pretty good. So let me start out by playing this. The first one to speak out was Sherry Franke, which was Ruby's oldest daughter, and she has written a book. And like I said, Hulu has got a special out now. I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. The family turned over, her husband Kevin turned over a bunch of raw footage for the documentary that included the stuff they didn't want people to see, that Ruby never wanted people to see, like, telling your kid to fake it for the camera, that type of stuff. And so let me go ahead and get this screen up and start with this. Let me get it up here. And this is a piece from Good Morning America. Let's see. All right, here we go.
The eldest daughter of mom influencer Ruby Franke, who pleaded guilty to child abuse last year. Sherry Franke is now sharing her story in a new book, including allegations about her mom's relationship with her former mentor. She spoke with Eva Pilgrim, and good morning again to you, Eva.
Good morning again, Michael. Sherry Franke knows so much of her life has been out there in the headlines, but now she's taking back her story, writing a memoir, carefully sharing her experience.
She was the Utah mommy influencer known for her no-nonsense parenting.
I'm only going to say it one more time, and then you're going to lose the privilege to eat dinner.
Ruby Franke sharing her life at home with 6 children to her more than 2 million followers on YouTube.
Today we are starting off our day the way we do every day.
But Ruby's social media empire quickly unraveled when her youngest son escaped in August of 2023. This chilling 911 call leading to her arrest.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house. He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs.
Now, for the first time, Ruby's eldest daughter, Sherry, is telling her story in a new memoir, The House of My Mother.
Sometimes I'll see myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like her or I sound like her, but I don't want to be anything like her.
Sherry, who says she was cut off from the family when she left for college, detailing abuse she says her mother inflicted throughout her childhood.
When I was younger, around 5, 6, Ruby was really physical, whether it was a slap to the lip or a slap to the cheek. When I would practice the piano, her hand would slam, and it was really scary. And honestly, when she met Jody, that kind of stopped.
Enter Judge Hippler, a Mormon family counselor and mentor to Ruby.
Could you feel the shift when Jody came into your family's life?
I could, for sure. I could feel the shift. I was like, oh, Jody, I don't like her, but maybe this is one good thing that's come from it, is she's not yelling, she's not hitting us anymore. But it did become more psychological, and in a way that was more damaging to me.
In 2022, Hildebrandt moved into the Franke home. The children's father, Kevin, moved out shortly after.
I certainly got weird vibes from Jody and Ruby. I don't think it's normal at all that a therapist would move into her client's home. I was moving out to college and I hadn't even left the house yet, and she is in my room and in my bed.
What was that relationship between the two of them?
Ruby tried to be secretive about it, and so I don't know all the details, but just the vibes that I was getting was that something was strange between them.
In the book, Sherry writing about messages between the two she says she found on Ruby's laptop after their arrest that confirmed for me the truth about the nature of her relationship with Jody and how it had spilled over into the physical. Ruby expressing her frustration about having to cater to Jody's needs for physical affection without getting anything in return.
Were they romantically involved with each other?
I never saw anything specific about that.
Do you think they were more than friends?
I'm not sure.
ABC News reached out to Ruby and Hildebrand for comment, but did not hear back. Youngest children, but not Sherry, and will serve at least 4 years in prison.
To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you are part of me.
Did you believe that she was apologetic?
I think that she's as sorry as she can be. What she has done is so bad that I don't think her mind allows her to kind of fully comprehend the guilt of all that. And so I think that she probably genuinely believed everything she said. I don't believe it, though.
Sherry now trying to turn her pain into purpose.
There is no such thing as a moral or ethical family vlogger.
Advocating to restrict family vlogging with children too young to consent.
Is there anything that you would say to Ruby if you had the chance?
Probably tell her I'm happy without you. I was scared of her for so long, and I am pure without her approval, and I am just fine.
Have you forgiven Ruby?
Forgiveness is something I've had to study a lot and kind of think about what it means. But for me, forgiveness would look like not letting that consume every moment of my life and all of my thoughts. I am just trying to move on with my life and trust that things are going to work out the way they're supposed to.
And we know Sherry reached out to authorities about alleged abuse of her younger siblings multiple times without help. We reached out to the Utah Department of Child and Family Services, and they cited their policy of privacy. Sherry is now focused on rebuilding her relationship with her siblings and her father, who told ABC News he is proud of his daughter. The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom, is available now. And she has some good news in her life. She was just engaged. She posted it on Instagram. And she talked about the fact that this is now, everything else is going to be private. She wants to be a mother. She wants her.
Agree. If you listen to that entire 911 call made by the elderly gentleman, it broke him to see what he was seeing with that little boy and to hear what the little boy was telling him. He said it was his fault, he got in trouble and got the restraints, and they found his sister in the closet hiding, afraid to come out. It took a female cop to come in and actually sit with that child for quite a while before coaxing her out of that large closet she was sitting in. That's how abusive it got for the kids there. Hi, welcome in, Danger. Let me get my next piece pulled up for us. And we're going to look now at the father and son. Everybody had a lot of questions for this husband because it came out that Jody recommended that he move out of the house. He solved those issues was for him to leave the home and to not have contact with his family, his wife, his children. Ruby would be calling all the shots and things of that nature. And everybody's like, how do you do that, guy? And he kind of explains some of that here. I'd seen it a long time ago and seen the things he has been saying. But now that this has come out, this is kind of like a little recap on that. So let me pull this up for you guys. And like I said, this is going to be with the father of the children and her oldest son. Now, at one point on the 8 Passengers show, YouTube show, this kid that they're going to show, he's adult now. When he was a child, he had pranked one of his siblings or something of that nature with a BB gun or something, and she got offended. She got so mad, she made him sleep on a beanbag, and it was this whole thing. And people were like, started calling her out on the show. Like, they would leave comments, about her parenting style, before Judge Hildebrandt actually entered the picture. Yeah, she's the worst kind of monster. She really is.
Interview with the estranged husband of Ruby Franke, the momfluencer who pleaded guilty to child abuse charges. Kevin Franke and his oldest son sat down with Eva Pilgrim. She joins us now. Hey, Eva.
Good morning, George. Kevin and Chad Franke tell me they haven't had any contact with Ruby, but they are still dealing with the aftermath of what she did to their family. The two telling me they wanted to share their story to set the record straight.
Sit down right here.
Go sit on the couch.
Sit her down on the flipping couch.
This morning, new home video of former mommy influencer and now convicted child abuser Ruby Franke.
I'm still recording!
The Utah mom of 6 was known for her tough parenting, carefully crafting her image to millions of subscribers on her 8 Passengers YouTube channel.
Some days parenting requires uncomfortable conversations.
But a disturbing reality was revealed after Ruby's youngest son escaped in August of 2023. This chilling 911 call leading to her arrest.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs.
My wife, Ruby's sole ambition was to be seen as the perfect mom.
Franke's estranged husband Kevin and oldest son Chad now opening up in a new Hulu docuseries, Devil in the Family: The Fall of Ruby Franke.
She just wanted to show the view of a Mormon happy family, but they only saw what we wanted to show them.
Both sitting down exclusively for the first time since Ruby's arrest.
It was so outlandish to me that it had to have been fabricated.
Before their YouTube fame, Kevin and Chad say the Frankes lived a normal life.
I had very fond memories as a young child.
Did you think your mom was a good mom?
I would say so, yeah.
We just felt very much like an average family.
At what point did it all change?
I think once companies started coming to us offering big money for scripts.
Be excited to tell them where your name came from, even if you have to fake it. Fake being happy. Okay?
I don't know if I can right now.
It was a chaotic experience. So lots of yelling, lots of snapping, and lots of timeouts in the corner.
Everything that Chad and Kevin remembered about this crazy story was meticulously documented. It was like having camera crews inside the house over a decade.
Kevin and Chad say the family dynamic really shifted after Ruby hired this woman.
I'm Judge Hildebrandt.
Therapist and life coach Judge Hildebrandt to work with their family.
She came across as somebody who was firm and very authoritative. So we thought, oh, this is a perfect fit. What became surprising to me was when the focus gradually shifted away from just solely on our children to us as a couple.
Do you feel like she brainwashed you?
She took control of something that was very, very important to me. My marriage, my family, and she used those like a carrot on a stick.
Looking back, I treated her as a god, and I trusted her so much.
Kevin says Jody and Ruby insisted he move out and cut off contact with his family to work on his addiction to selfishness.
How could you have left your family?
The bottom line is that I was choosing to trust a licensed. They gave some terrible counsel. And I have regrets, and I wish that I hadn't done those things.
Do you still love her?
I do. I don't think I'll ever stop loving her. Does that mean that I want to let her back into my life, let her back into my kids' lives? Absolutely not.
Guilty.
Both Ruby and Jody pleaded guilty to 4 counts of child abuse against Ruby's 2 youngest children and could serve up to 30 years in prison. Kevin recently speaking at a Utah State House hearing advocating for child protections around family vlogging, reading a letter from his 11-year-old daughter.
I feel like my mom used me for money.
What do you want people to know?
There is real danger when you place yourself or your family, your children out onto public social media, to be just careful with who they choose to put their faith in, to put their trust in, because it can have massive consequences in your life.
What does happiness look like for you guys?
It's wonderful to be surrounded by my children. There's laughter again. We have a lot of new furry friends.
Our home is a zoo.
It is a zoo, and it's funny because like they chew up all the
Floorboards.
floorboards and everything, and I'm just thinking if Ruby was here, she'd be furious, but Ruby's not, and I don't care, and I'm happy.
Ruby's not here and they don't care.
I don't blame them.
Now we reached out to Jody.
Right? I mean, this Jody Hildebrandt lady, I mean, she's quite a piece of work. Sorry, pull my thing back up here. Yeah, a lot of people, Danger, like to have these little perfect beings as their little children, you know, and there's no such thing. You can always say your kids are close enough to perfect, but we all know they're not. So this is body cam of Ruby being arrested.
Hey, she used the restroom. Do you have a
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know if
Is
you
there a
wanted-
restroom right here? Or
I don't know where it's at.
wherever you need to use the restroom.
Okay, yeah, there is one in there. Thank you, sir. I mean, LT. I'm out. That's just really loud. What's that?
It's an alarm. Do you want to turn it off?
Yeah, where's it at?
It's my purse.
I didn't know those are connected to it. I'll put it back up there. Thank you. Is there a lock on it? Or is that the lock right there? I turned it on accident. You good? Yeah. Okay. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said something. He was yelling something to him. I apologize.
How are you? Alright, well, it feels good in here. So, hey, Ruby, at this time, I know you said that you're already detained, but I'm going to be taking you back to the police department. Okay, so I'm going to hop up. See if I can fit through here.
You want to put it on one of our vehicles?
Yeah, you want to. Okay, just place your hand behind your back for me. Perfect. And then, right now, I can put a finger in each of these, okay? And I'm just going to double up those so they don't tighten up on you on the way out there. Where's your car?
It's out there.
Yeah. you
About
can
by the
take it.
command.
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Any weapons, anything that we're going to find. Before you put you in a police vehicle, we need to search your person to make sure you don't have anything on you. Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm going to search you before we put you in his car. That's just protocol, so I'm just going to have you step right over here and then just widen your legs, widen your stance. Yep, perfect. Are you wearing a bra? Okay, I'm just going to go like this through and make sure you don't have anything. You said you're not wearing a bra? Okay. Is that just like a tank top under here? Okay. I'm just gonna lift up your hair. Okay. Alright, you're just gonna walk with Officer Hines.
You'll go out this way.
And then, hey Hines.
You want me this way or that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you wanna go down the downstairs into the interview room downstairs.
Sounds good.
You going
down or I'm going down? You're going down. I'll go get the store for you.
I appreciate it. I was gonna ask you to come turn my car off, but I'm leaving now, so we're good.
Yeah.
It's still on. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll come help you.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Well. If you want to ask,
I got you.
just so we can tell them who we're taking down there. This way. Sorry, one second. Yeah, Captain.
You're not going with Jessica, you take her?
She told me to transfer it down, then she'll meet me
Okay,
here.
yeah. Take me in your car, then
Okay.
I'll
Appreciate it. Ruby, what's your last name? Just so I could tell them I'm transferring. Okay. Control traffic 13. I'll be transferring Ruby to number 12. I'll give you my beginning here in a minute.
Ruby understood the concept of don't talk, I guess, because she ain't saying a word through this whole thing.
I'll come back and grab it after they get back here.
Ooh, I don't know what happened to that one. What just happened there? I got a good signal. Okay. Right, Danger? She's like, I'm not saying a word. And even once they started going to court, she denied the child abuse. And, before they ended up finally taking the plea deals. They would have gotten so much more time if they hadn't taken those plea deals. Okay, let me pull this. Sorry, hold on. I can't remember exactly, Joe, which county it was in. I'll have to look that up and get back to you. I can't remember exactly. Okay. This is at Jody Hildebrandt's home.
Brandt's child abuse cases. Franke, a once popular parenting influencer, and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, are now both in prison after pleading guilty to child abuse charges. And we are showing you body cam footage of when officers showed up to Hildebrandt's multi-million-dollar mansion in Ivins, searching for Franke's 2 children.
It was in Ivins, Joe.
Open the door! Jody, I need you to step out.
I have my attorney.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the house.
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna see everybody else. Is there anybody else home?
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
Look, they going into my house.
Just have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
So this sweep happened last year after one of Franke's sons escaped the 10,000 square foot house. The boy walked to a neighbor's house.
You can see the duct tape around this child's ankles, and you can see how thin his legs really are.
With tape wrapped around his legs, asking for help. Soon after the police got the call, several officers showed up to search two of Franke's other children living inside the home. And when they got there, they found one of the children inside a closet.
You come in, my buddy. I'm a police officer. Are you going for the union here? Hey, you okay? Is this just you in here?
First responders showed up, and an ambulance immediately began treating that child before taking him to a nearby hospital. Franke and Hildebrandt were taken to a police station, questioned, and then arrested.
How long you lived here in Ivins? 11 minutes? 6 years. 6 years? The same house? Wow. You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Utah County.
Utah County.
And how long were you up there for?
Homeowners too, so don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side, and right now we're just asking you just typical questions, like how long you lived here, that kind of thing.
I watched too many detective movies.
How, yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Me too. You can't, honestly, I sit there and I'm married and I sit there and watch those with my wife and I say that, like, we don't, that's not how we do it. Hey, that's not right. So don't take, there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But most of them are probably a little off base. We're not as mean. I won't get up and beat you up. We don't do that.
We just want to get to know you a little, so if you just kind of want to share a little about yourself and what brought you down here. And
So I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when we talk. So you guys seem nice people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm trying to be difficult. This is really, if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy for what's going on.
That's what we're looking for. And you're an adult, and the thing about our interview, if we ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, you can just tell us, I don't want to answer that question. But we do want to have a basis and an understanding of what's going on in that home, or what went on up north that brought them into your home.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to share any of that and you don't want to answer any other questions, that's okay.
I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're gonna flip my words. I don't know.
And that's the good thing about cameras. Everything, it's pretty much double recorded, audio, video, and it's for the safety for you and for us, because we don't want to flip your words. And this will all be pretty much right there to support you. So we're not going to use anything against you.
He'd be so insistent then. He's an honest, good man, goes to church. I trust him. Why would he say that to me then?
I don't know. I don't know your attorney, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying he's a good, honest man.
Yeah,
and I'm an honest person as well, so we get along great. And he just said, do not say anything.
Maybe just as an attorney, they
always say that.
They always want to be with their client. I'm not sure, but like I said, at any time, if you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to. So the ball's really in your court on what you do want to answer and what you don't. So
Well, I think it looks bad that I don't want to answer anything, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. I'm really hanging on what he told me to do.
Yeah, who's your attorney?
Adam, his father's an attorney, his brother's an attorney.
Is he local?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I don't know.
He's on the street where the town hall is.
Well,
They all have the same name.
The whole reason we're sitting here today is there's a lot of questions we have that we just maybe misunderstandings that we just need to clarify. And
I know, and I'd love to tell you if he were here, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I've watched people flip things all the time, so I get it. I sit on your side. I get it. I wish people didn't do that, but they do.
Well, if you're not willing to answer any of the questions about yourself, would you be willing to answer any questions maybe about Ruby or Kevin that you could help us understand? We just honestly want to understand what their dynamic is, what happened to the children, what caused their separation.
Right.
And after talking to Kevin, it sounds like you know a lot about their dynamic and their relationship. So if you could help us understand that at the least, that would be awesome. And that's nothing incriminating towards yourself because it's not pertaining to you. So if you could help us understand that.
Jody, we're going to do this. You asked for your attorney, and we'll leave it at that. We'd like to maybe talk to you later. When you have your attorney here present.
Absolutely.
Here. Here, my floor.
He talked to the officer.
Okay.
And said, "Can we make a time?" And he said out loud, "Do not talk to them."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk and see if we can schedule that, and maybe that's just something we just do with your attorney. Okay. Do you have any questions for us, or anything we can answer in the meantime?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, yeah, she's not talking till she gets her attorney there. She knows. Not a lot I mean, it didn't matter at some point. They were busted. 1 second, guys. Let me. Yes, I didn't know how many of you had followed that story or not, to even know about, the topic of who the kids were and why they're, coming out and talking now. And like I said, there's a Hulu documentary out now on the story. I'm going to take a look at this one thing. This is a girl named Jessie Hildebrandt. She was Jody's niece, and she lived with Jody when she was younger, before Jody got her hands on Ruby's children. And we'll see. Let me see, when was this one done? Because I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. This was like a year ago. September 11th of 2023 is when this aired. Okay, let me get this up here. And this was Jody's niece speaking about her experience with her aunt.
Either saw, spoke to, or in a way heard from Jody. Has it been a long time?
It's been a long time. I think it was a family member's wedding.
At one point, right?
Yeah, I was left in her care when I was a teenager, for a little under a year.
Have you met Ruby before?
No, I've never met Ruby. This is the first time I've ever heard of her. I have gone and watched at least some of her videos. They're very difficult to watch just for my own experience with that form of therapy or therapy. It's quite triggering, to be honest. So I've never met her, but the things that she is saying and regurgitating are very, very familiar to me. It's interesting to watch I understand this, but it's interesting to watch the world respond to her and kind of putting her at the forefront. And I understand that she's the mother of these children, and it makes sense. But the philosophies and the therapeutic modalities that she's using are Jody's. And these are not new. These are not, this is a pattern that Jody has been engaged with for at least 14 years. I don't know if there are other people that she's used these on, but she's definitely taught. I know that she teaches parents to use these types of therapies, as she would call them. So yeah, it's been a really interesting experience watching everyone focus on Ruby, and I understand why, but this is Jody. These are Jody's words. These are Jody's ideas. These are over decades old. So yeah.
Is that why you've called Jody the mastermind behind all of this?
Yes. That doesn't excuse Ruby's involvement and her perpetuating these beliefs and these systems, but Ruby didn't come up with this. Ruby obviously supports it and has used these on her children, but this is coming from Jody.
In short, can you describe what you mean? Like, which practices are you talking about, just to make sure we're clear, because I know there's a lot out there. So which ones are you talking about that you've seen, that you're hearing about pertaining to her children, that you're familiar with too?
Sure, yeah. So the things that I experienced while living with Jody, I experienced being tied, I experienced being duct taped, I experienced being blindfolded, I experienced severe isolation, I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse. I experienced the being told I shouldn't be around other people, being told that I was dangerous to be around. People were afraid of me to the point where I was afraid of myself. I was physically, I was forced to sleep outside in the snow. I was, like I said, isolated for up to 12 hours a day. If someone spoke to me directly, if I wasn't wearing duct tape on my mouth, I had to just stare at them and not respond, because she also had systems of people that would report back to her if I broke any of these rules. And her whole thing, which is deeply, darkly ironic, is that everything stems from shame, and how horrible shame is, and that all of the reason, like all of mental illness, all tics, so like OCDs, addiction, everything stems from shame, which is just horrifying, because she is the greatest perpetuator of shame. She also, and this is like a very deep connection, and why I chose to come forward to the media rather than just staying with the podcast. She accused me of being a sex addict. She accused me of being addicted to masturbation, to the point where I wasn't allowed to, I mentioned this on the podcast, to the point where I wasn't allowed to use tampons. I never was allowed privacy unless I was isolated. So that included the bathroom. I was never allowed to have the door closed, because she was convinced that I was just constantly
niece talking about her experience with her aunt.
That's crazy. I don't understand where's her mom, her dad? Like, why are they allowing this abuse?
Well,
like, it's crazy.
It's also part of the Mormon church stuff. Okay. And it's a deeper dive into, if you look at, like, if you go and watch some of Megan's content, you understand it a little differently. There's no excuse for any of it, but it's showing that with their teachings, if you're evil if you don't do things perfectly. You have to be perfect, and if you aren't, and Joe can attest to some of that as well, being a former Mormon, and he's talked about this stuff
Oh,
on his
okay.
channel. Yeah,
I was
we
gonna say I don't know anything about the Mormon religion, but
yeah,
wow, that's
um,
eye-opening if that's
It,
the kind of stuff
yeah,
they teach.
it's a it's a
Go ahead.
religion it's a defeatist religion. You will, because you are supposed to, through your own works and through your own acts, achieve perfection on this earth as close as you can get. So we all know that's not possible. So you start feeling guilty, and then it leads to other things. But it's a defeatist religion. You'll never ever achieve what they're telling you have to achieve on this earth, ever.
Yeah. And Jody was she was sanctioned by the Mormon Church as a therapist. She was propped up and she was held up. Yeah, and that's was your go-to person if you were having issues in your relationship, in your family, or whatever. Then they would direct you on where to go seek help and counseling. And this is the kind of woman they were sending people to. So even I don't know if this girl never spoke out as a child. Probably not, being afraid of Jody. I'm assuming from hearing this, she's got a podcast. I'd have to go check into that. Be interesting to see what that's about. But yeah, this is her niece talking about her experience, which was long before, Jody came into the lives of Ruby and her children. And Ruby was already a very strict, abusive type parent, and then Jody just that was fed with Jody's teachings.
She was convinced that I was addicted to porn. I had never seen porn at that point in my life.
Jody had accused Ruby's husband, we heard him say that earlier, addicted to selfishness. He was the selfish one in the relationship, by not conforming to everything that Ruby wanted. And so therefore he needed to go from the family and learn. And she also accused him of being addicted to certain things and things of that nature. And yeah, this is the kind of therapist that's out there for people who may really have problems.
I didn't even know that people with my anatomy could masturbate. Like I had no idea any of this stuff, but I just believed her because she used religion and God as a mode of control, and a mode to manipulate. And so I just believed all of these things. So her ability to convince you of these neuroticisms and these behaviors and I was a teenager. And so a child in that position of being told this over and over and over and over again, which I'm certain he was, stood no chance. She also, because of what the abuse and torturing that was going on, and the belief that she had that I was doing something more. So her rationale to the severity of these punishments and this physical and emotional abuse was she wanted to make my life, and this is like her quote, like this is what she would tell me all of the time. She wanted to make my life so uncomfortable that it would force the sin out, that it would force me to confess. So things continuously got worse and worse and progressively more and more intense as a way to get me to confess, because she believed that if I had confessed everything, if all of my sins were out and in the open, that I would be getting better. And I was declining,
So the oldest son that we saw a few minutes ago has a very similar story, that when he was 17, Jody told him that he needed to move out of the family home, that he was staying to live a hard life to expel that out of him, which included him at 17 living out on his own, getting a job, and riding a bicycle back and forth to work for a year. And he said that a neighbor had noticed him doing that and felt bad for him and offered to get him a car, which he was like, yes, that would be awesome. But Jody said, no, you have to live a painful life in order to learn your lessons. Isn't that crazy?
very fast, exponentially. And so she just kept ramping it up. And so to hear Ruby to tell the world that her child is a sex addict, a predator, and has been addicted to porn since he was 3 years old, it just echoes exactly the things that she was telling me and telling everyone around me. And I know that I think if I don't know if I got this right, but I'm pretty sure that she's saying that he even confessed to it. Well, I also confessed to things that I didn't do as a way of trying to get the abuse to stop. Because when she's like drilling it into you both psychologically and physically that there's more, and it will stop once you tell her, because that's what she would tell you. Like in the middle of the abuse, she'd be like, I'll stop as soon as you tell me. As soon as you tell me what's going on, like what you did. Oh, she was also convinced that I had abortions. She was convinced she made me do 12-step because she was convinced I was an addict, like a drug addict as well. I'd never done drugs. I'd never had sex. Again, I didn't know that masturbation was even possible. I had no idea what these things were. So I just started making things up as a way, as like trying to get this to stop, because I had no one there to help me and to save me. And I think I even said that on the podcast that I was making things up. And when I spoke to the detective down in St. George days ago, I told her that as well. It's like and so even if he had confessed, it cannot be taken seriously, because this child was being tortured. And I'm certain that she echoed those words of like, if you tell me, I will stop. So what is happening, it just echoes so close to home of what she did to me. And the repercussions, the emotional and physical repercussions of those actions, like the fact that she can, because the thing that's so sinister about this is that it can't be disproven. So even if like she goes to prison, his name is cleared, it will never be fully cleared because it cannot be disproven. So this is going to potentially follow him for the rest of his life. So even with those children being taken out of her care, she is still abusing them. And so with whatever is happening, whatever did happen, I can guarantee you it's not what she's saying.
Her business, Connections Classroom, is this the same approach she uses for all of her patients as well that are not family or not Ruby's kids, as well as you know?
I don't know the intricacies of what she promotes and what she teaches on Connections Classroom. If it's anything even close, then
Connections was the name of the company that Jody had formed that she did all her teachings through, the Connections Classroom. So that's where they would all get their therapy and all their lessons and the things of that nature.
I mean, I'm certain that there's going to be parallels. I know that she believes that all shame should be punished. And I know that I wouldn't be surprised. I really don't know. I've stayed away as much as possible from her and her world, to just heal and to try to salvage any life that I could possibly live post living with her.
With that said, it sounds like this wasn't really a secret, though. Obviously, you knew about these teachings. Other people in her family, probably both families I've been hearing, knew about some of these practices or had heard of. Why do you think it took neighbor's house, call 911, and now this is a thing? Like, why did it take this long?
I think it's a combination of quite a few things. One, the church supports her. She's been promoted by the church, and people trust the church. Members trust their bishops, they trust their stake presidents, and a lot of these people, most people that are going to therapy, if not all, are in a vulnerable position. And she is remarkably convincing. She is also terrifying if you cross her, because she has and will systematically destroy your life. She destroys your reputation. She destroys any of your credibility. So even because there are definitely people that have been speaking out against her. I mean, she lost her license because of someone speaking out in 2012. Like, this is not, she's not just, everyone's not just been like, okay, yeah, for sure, fair game, free for all. People have been criticizing her. That's just that no one has listened. Because one, we have a culture of people not believing children and not trusting children. And also children trust their parents, and then the parents trust the church. So there's been, and Jodi, what she does that's so tricky is that she utilizes and uses whatever is available. So if you go to her with OCD, if you go to her with severe depression, she'll use that information as a way of control. Oh, you have OCD because you have deep-rooted shame. And those tics are happening because the shame has nowhere to go. And so it's coming out in this neuroticism. And then, or let's say like you told her that you lied, which is a normal human thing that we've all done. That doesn't make you a liar. Oh, well, you lied. You're a liar. Now everything you say is a lie and you can't be trusted. And she also separates people. She keeps people so they can't talk and corroborate. Like it is so vile and tricky and ingenious. Like Jodi is she is a very unwell person. I don't know her exact diagnoses, but I know that she's been diagnosed with a plethora of things. And yeah, so it's devastating because I went forward as well. I mean, I went to the police when I was 16. I tried to do what I could, and no one believed me, because why would they? She destroyed my credibility. I was an angry teenager, and now I'm just you're just like an emotional, angry teenager and she had destroyed my dad's life, that every person I come in contact, I destroy. So she sets up the premise. And then when I come forward and try to tell people like, this is what's happening, she can be like, oh, see, Jesse's trying to destroy my life is what they do. It just all adds up. So she's so good at protecting those loopholes and discrediting people.
Is that why you think maybe other members of both families still won't speak out publicly about this right now and are staying quiet? Or do you think it's a fear thing or just want to stay out of it? Is there any thought process on that?
I can't speak to why people aren't. I know the culture of my family. I think that it's probably probably a number of things. Some people, I think it's just that they themselves have been harmed so much by her and they want to stay. They just want to live their life and not be dragged into this. Other members, it could be fear. I can't say. All I can say, and again, the only reason why I'm coming forward, I was not planning on coming forward to the media other than just doing the podcast interview, is when I heard that Ruby accused her child of this, and I just hope that this can give the public some context and some clarity of what is happening and why they should not believe her.
So 6 charges of aggravated child abuse. That's what's on the table. I'm sure you're not a legal expert. I'm not either, but I've talked to a number of attorneys just kind of about this case, more about the hype of the case, because it's obviously gotten a ton of attention because of Ruby's profile, right? Because of the high profile aspect of the YouTube channel. And that's why I think it's interesting we're talking about Jodi, because Ruby's got, as you mentioned, is getting the spotlight in a weird way. And Jodi, as you mentioned, is behind a lot of the tactics. Do you feel like 6 felony charges, I mean, in your mind, is that enough punishment for what is alleged against?
I mean, including my own child abuse that I experienced. I want justice and I want fair justice. So I want everything that she has done, that both of them have done, to be held accountable. Whether that be 6, 12, 18, however many, I just want to see that she is held accountable for the things that she has done. But I personally believe that is not covering everything that she's done. And I can say that because I know that she's not being held accountable for what she did to me. In the legal system, I mean.
How closely are you following this? Are you looking every day to see if there's something new that's put out? I mean, where is your mindset at with the case, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm not following it every single day. I'm trying to navigate just my own emotional safety in all of this. I'm trying to stay up to date. I have people that have sent me things that feel a little bit more safe in being more aware of what's going on. And so like when something big does come out, like with Ruby's accusations, I had someone sent that to me. And I was sitting in the parking lot of Lowe's and I started having a panic attack because it was just so directly similar. I mean, the exact thing. This is exactly what she does. This is what Jodi does. And so now, because she's painted him as this thing, regardless of what comes out, like he's no longer, I mean, I think hopefully the public can see through this and the judge can see through this. But that's the goal, is so that anything that he says is now no longer credible.
What do you think the public will ultimately take away from these two as it pertains to the court proceedings and such?
I mean, I just hope that Jodi is not sidelined in this, because she is so connected to what is happening. And yes, Ruby needs to be held accountable because she made those choices. She's just as guilty. But Jodi has been doing this for much longer and has patterns and history in this. So I just really hope that, yes, Ruby is the focus because of her high profile and because they're her children. But those children were, as far as I'm aware, I hope I got this right, were in Jodi's care. Like, this isn't, I just so hope that even though Ruby's the focus, I just hope that Jodi is not, that she's not able to slink away and just kind of fade into the background, because she is the foundation.
Can you take me back to when you heard that she indeed pled guilty to these charges and what you were feeling?
Yeah, it was, well, even before that, when
Okay, that just rolled into another one. Then she pretty much says a lot of the same things there in that piece. Just talking about after they were arrested and everything.
So Jodi pled guilty. Did Ruby plead guilty also?
They did. They took plea bargains. Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah, and it told us earlier, I forget how many years they did it, or getting a piece. It's not that long. It's not going to be like, years and years and years, as to what they could have faced if they didn't take the plea bargains. In the beginning, they weren't wanting to do that, right? But I think, their attorneys are like, look, this is all out child abuse, no matter how you look at it, and no matter how you want to back it up with your religion, this child abuse. Anyway, they ended up taking the plea bargains, and they're both serving time right now.
Well, I hope she doesn't get her license back for therapy again. Like,
no, she should never.
Do you think?
For life. I mean,
but they were suspended once.
They did have it suspended once.
Yeah, and they gave them back.
Say, oh, okay, here it is again.
But now that she's been convicted of the child abuse charges and is serving time on them, that should, I would hope, revoke their license, her license. She's got no business sitting there saying, hey, y'all need to go to see this lady.
Well, a lot of professional oversight boards and their state codes, however they're codified, will restrict you or prevent you from renewing your license if you have a felony. Like, that's one of the questions when you go to renew your license. Do you have a felony on your record? If you say yes, boop, no.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to go see that lady. I mean, check your therapist out, people. See if they got, see if they got a record. I don't know, but it's just with that particular story and the way it ties back into the Mormon Church, and some of the teachings. If you get down to the root of it, into the as to what they actually do and how it can lead them. The offshoots, okay, like the things that Jodi was developing in her teachings and her connections classes, the things that Chad was doing, taking it to the next level type of thing. It's just crazy. And then the fact they both tie back to the core Mormon belief system. It's always intrigued me. And one of the podcasts that Megan is on a lot is, what is it? Mormon Stories, I believe, is the podcast on YouTube. He does a great deep dive into the church and the aspect and the role it plays in a lot of this stuff, and I always appreciated the channels that did the deep dives into that, especially when Lori Vallow came about, because so much focus was put on the sex and the money for Lori and Chad. It's all about that. It was not. It was not. That was bonus stuff. It really was way deeper than that, you know. So I appreciate those channels that take a look at that. And then
Yeah, Crash and I are going to talk a little bit more about it tonight. We're going to deep dive it a little bit more. I'm going to let her talk about an official church memo that was released.
So are y'all going to do that tonight?
Yep, we're going live tonight. Yep.
Okay. Well, when you get that set up, get it out there to the universe so we can all get our notifications on. Cresha, guys, is the sister of Charles Vallow.
Niece.
I'm sorry,
niece. Yep.
She is the daughter of Kay Vallow. Kay was Charles' sister, so she is the niece of Charles Vallow, who Lori is on trial right now for the murder of him. Actually, her brother committed the crime. He's no longer with us, but they have Lori also charged. She was present when it happened. So yeah, we've taken some deep dives into the Vallow stuff over on Joe's channel. And Cresha will be there again tonight talking to Joe again. Like I said, she is the niece to Charles Vallow. So she's got great insight there as well on a lot of
She does. I'm going to drop her channel in here too. That's difficult research. And she said last live we were together, she said she has been researching since day one after her uncle was
called me Sassy Salty on that live.
Yeah, right?
She said something and you were like, oh, Salty will love that. She's like, oh, Sassy Salty. But yeah, she comes in, so we do appreciate her. Yeah, go ahead and drop her link there in the chat. So if you guys are interested in checking out her content, do that as well. And then get your notification on for Joe's live tonight. Now, while we were at air, for those of you following, Firefly I know is following, and I've been following the Karen Reed updates that had been going on. We know about that hearing that abruptly ended a few weeks ago, and they've had another hearing since then. They had another hearing today. The hearing has been going on, and I checked it, and they had a long break, and then I think they just came back to court a few minutes ago. So if we cover that, we can fast forward through all the BS if you guys are interested in checking out that hearing. If that's something you guys would like to do, we can take a break and I can come back in a half hour and we can pull it up and watch it together if you guys are interested. If not, you can find it there on the chat. What do you guys want to do? Is that
like Jackson's talking right now? I mean, he's interesting as hell.
Yeah, it's gonna be. So I'm not even sure. I know they're picking back up on from the last hearing that was held, and I don't even know if the judge has made any final decisions yet about. Because this is about the ARCA experts continued, right? About whether they received payment or not from the defense. So I think I do want to watch that because I do plan to cover that trial. It's kind of like cutting my teeth on trial coverage because I want to get the Kohberger trial coverage right, and I know we're gonna, we're not gonna be perfect at it because I've never streamed a trial before, so I'm gonna use Karen Reed as kind of like a practice run. So, but if you guys,
like a good idea.
Yeah, you guys down to meet back up in like say a half hour and watch that hearing?
That'd be give me time to have lunch and all that. That'd be good.
Exactly, because I'm hungry and I'm like I can't stream and be on top of my game if I'm hangry. It's not going to work.
Shower would be nice, yes.
Right, all right. So, okay, you guys, I'll set that up real quick and get it back out there with a little thumbnail. If you guys want to come back in for that, you're more than welcome to come in and hang out and let's catch that hearing so we can get up to speed on the latest in the Karen Reed case. All right. Well, with that said, I guess I'll let you guys go so we can meet back up soon. And again, thank you all for being here. We really
Okay.